It is 6:37 a.m. on Wednesday, which is day, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm so tired. I'm just very tired. Oh, I'm yawning. I'm sitting on the couch for as long as I can. My Lord, I'm tired.
Oh man, was I tired. There is nothing like the tired right after you have a baby.
First of all, just like how tired I sound, it's relentless right there. That first month is just really like nothing else. And I hope that this podcast and people listening to it, like that's one of my big, is just to hear someone in it so you can like have a better sense of what it's like. And then also a sense of like how you move through it.
Yeah.
Because it's like no other time.
I'm Christy, and on today's episode of Today We Tried, we're talking about the early days with a cute but relentless new baby that you're trying to keep alive and healthy while you're trying to keep up with your own healing process with frozen pads, peri bottles, and hormonal night sweats. Yay! I recorded audio diaries while I was in the thick of it, and honestly, listening back has been an experience. I'm so curious to hear what sparks for you as a listener, whether you're in the 4th trimester right now, or anticipating it, or maybe remembering parts of it that you forgot. Honestly, I forgot parts of this and it's only been a couple months. We'll talk sleep deprivation and anxiety, expectations versus reality of what you can get done with a newborn, sibling dynamics. Do you want to wake Holland up?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. It's time for her to eat. And in this family, we always wake a sleeping baby to eat, right? Yeah.
And then wake up.
Okay, very gentle.
Okay.
Okay. And moments of pure joy and wonder that I was really able to appreciate this time around.
I do think like 4 kids is like a lot of kids. This time right now feels like both impossible and like exactly what I always wanted was like 4 kids kind of like close in age, and just like having that chaos is what I wanted. And there's some meme going around is like the you 5 years ago like wanted the life you have now. And I was like, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I did.
I'll also share an unexpected curveball challenge. I don't even know what to call it. I still am processing it, but it definitely threw me for a loop a few weeks in. So we'll get into that. Oh, and of course, poop.
What is that? Do you have... Oh, Ted is looking cute. He just came down. He has her spit up on the top of his shirt and poop on the bottom of his shirt.
Through the carrier mesh, so it's very breathable.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Take off the carrier.
So that's how we're doing.
So without further ado, let's jump in.
I think in the night I'm like, oh, but in the morning I can have a full cup of coffee. And that is just an excellent thought that gets me through the night. There's nothing like the first like couple sips of coffee after a tired night. Really just hits so nicely.
Newborn nights, they are long. Consistently, when I'm chatting with friends or my sisters who are moms, we all have a common feeling of our anxiety ticking up as the sun goes down because we just don't know what the night will hold. And babies often have their nights and days reversed, the little punks. And sleep deprivation, honestly, it just ups my baseline anxiousness.
I was just thinking, like in my head, I had this thought of like, I haven't felt the baby move. And then I look up and the baby is actually sitting next to me. And I can now get to see her move and be reassured. But it reminded me of something my sister said when Fritz and Lark were first born and they were in the NICU and I was like feeling stressed. But my stress was manifesting itself in this feeling of like, I'm never going to be able to have kids, because that was what my stress had been. She noted that because of the lack of sleep in the postpartum period, it's really hard to fully process and create new memories. And so your brain can be in this kind of weird state where like it hasn't had a chance to kind of adjust. And since you're not sleeping, it takes longer and everything feels more strange.
Have you always been anxious?
I've always been anxious. Yeah. So I always have that. And I just feel like postpartum, it is more aggressive. And maybe it comes from needing more help at that time. I don't know if those are like tied in together. And I definitely feel like this time around with the postpartum hemorrhage, that feeling of anxiety, because when I first started bleeding, my brain just was like, I'm going to die. Like there was no reason. My life was not in danger. They knew what they were doing. They could fix it. But that's just what my brain did and I do think that feeling has carried over a little bit, like has exacerbated it a little bit and made me, I don't really remember, at least with my other kids, being as concerned with like, people like make sure their babies are breathing at night. They'll just like look over and be like, and hold their chest. And I feel like I'm doing that more with Holland this time than I did with the other kids. It's like I'm wanting to check up on her a little bit more, I think maybe because of just the chaos of like the delivery and just postpartum. I'm just like, let me just make sure everything's okay. So that's like a little bit of a new iteration of how my anxiety is showing up.
The perspective I've gained from doing this before has been hugely helpful for me this time around.
Honestly, I was thinking about it, and like with the twins, when one of them would get really upset and start crying like that, I would be afraid every time they would never stop. I'd be like, this is the time. They'll never stop. After having done that once, and now like this is my third time with the newborn phase, it's just like I can believe it will stop. Like it just makes it so much easier because I'm like, okay, that's all right. Like you can almost have a little like distance from it and almost be like, oh, you cute baby. Like, yes, you're screaming your head off at me, but you're just a little baby. But with the twins, it was like very serious and I could not have any distance. So.
And being busy helps too. I kind of need projects to do. I think it also helps me keep my anxiety at bay because I just don't want to be sitting thinking all of the thoughts about all the stuff we have to do. So instead, I will load the dishwasher. But in the end, for me, it all comes down to sleep. We'll talk more in a future episode about baby sleep, but for me, privileging getting sleep is the key to managing my feelings and my life. I just got up from an almost 2-hour nap. Holland napped and I napped. I slept when the baby slept. It's so exciting. I definitely hit a wall today and I was just so tired. It was not intentional even. I had just finished feeding her and she wanted to nap right away, and turns out I did too. So, I honestly just feel tired right now, but I feel very excited for what that nap means for how I'm going to feel going forward. Another big part of my 4th trimester this time around, maybe the defining part, is that Holland is our last baby. Knowing she's my last little baby makes me appreciate the snuggles. Also putting off folding laundry, which is what I do. I like to just carry baskets of laundry around with me and not fold them, but have them within eyesight so I can feel a little bad about it and eventually fold it. There is always laundry. And the laundry thing actually is one of the first things that really drove home for me that 4 kids is a lot of kids. It's a lot of piles of laundry when I'm trying to organize everything. Oh, and the nails. Ted is going to have to cut her fingernails soon.
Good.
I give Ted fingernail duty always. Yeah, one of the nurses in the hospital, remember, she was like, now you're responsible for 100 nails.
Yeah, I was like, well, when you put it that
Were you prepared to be like, do you know what I mean? Like there's an expectation versus reality. Like you're like, wow, this is a lot crazier than I thought it was going to be.
I had forgotten how much, like Holland's a great newborn, doing a great job at it, but like they do need to be held a lot of the time. I had thought like, oh yeah, I'll feed her, but while I feed her, I can read to the kids. And like, while she's napping, I can be doing X, Y, or Z. All right, recording now as I'm going to try to pull off feeding Holland while reading to Fritz and Mark. Oh, do you think we can do it?
Yeah.
All right. We got our pillow in position. All right, so we got to get her positioned first, right?
And then you gotta get the book.
I got to take these out of my bra. These capture milk when it leaks out of me. There's a lot of paraphernalia that goes along with
What's paraphernalia?
stuff. There's a lot of stuff that goes along with
Stuff.
breastfeeding. And babies. And I've had to really readjust my expectations for like the amount I can get done.
I'm here holding Holland and also trying to sterilize some pacifiers and reusable silicone bags to store more milk. But I'm realizing it's not great to have a newborn in one arm and dealing with boiling water with the other. So I think I'm going to take a pause on that.
I kind of forgot that part.
How have the kids been? They're feeling some sort of way about it. How are they adjusting?
So when he is the most, like, he'll come up and he talks in a baby voice to Holland with like, no, I guess he's heard us, but he does a little like, hi, Holland, like in this really high voice. And he's so soft with her and like rubs her head and rubs her chest. And if we ask him like, oh, can you bring a diaper or pacifier? He like runs to go get it. He's the most engaged and like excited about her. I think everyone was a little bit like, had forgotten how little a newborn baby does. So there was a little disappointment of like, oh, like that's what they do.
Right.
Like Lark will go and do peekaboo to Holland, and Holland is obviously too little to think that's fun. And so Lark will say, oh, peekaboo, Holland, and Holland will do nothing. And Lark will look at me and be like, she didn't even laugh. I'm like, sorry. And I feel like we're always losing a kid right now. It's like we look around the room and it's like, where's Fritz? Where's Win? Mostly the two of them. Lark just goes up and reads on her own and is like self-sufficient.
Exactly.
She doesn't need us.
The early days with a newborn can really make you feel like you're never doing or being enough. I try to be a fun parent. I feel like I've been a little like cranky at everyone because I've been tired. And then whenever my kids are away, I like have this vision of myself becoming like super fun when they're back. So we'll see if I can be super fun when they get back. Oh, I love them. Oh, this desire to be a fun parent. I feel this so much. I really want my kids to want to hang out with me when they don't have to anymore, like when they're grown-ups. But also, as we say in our family, lovingly but truthfully, kids are annoying. This comes from a family story, one of those we repeat over and over, where I was supposed to call my dad before a delayed flight to let him know when to get me at the airport, and I forgot. And when I landed, my dad had been just waiting for me, and I apologized to him, and he shrugged and said, kids are annoying. So yes, kids are annoying, and parents can be annoying. Like, I annoy my kids sometimes for sure. And I like to think that if we're worried about and thinking about creating a long-lasting bond with our kids, we're probably doing better than we think. So I wish I could tell my past self that and believe it more myself now, but we're doing our best. Okay, so you've heard me working through the normal and wild ups and downs of early parenthood with a new little one, but I was hit by a curveball this time around. As a little background, we moved in with my parents when I was 3 weeks postpartum so we could renovate our new house. And in the course of that move, we hired deep cleaners for our old house. And here's what happened next. So I just got a call from Ted, and he had gone down to our old house to pick up some stuff from the fridge, including about 100 ounces of milk that I had frozen. And he got there, and we had also left all the art on our walls to move ourselves. He gets there. All of the stuff that had been in our house is out back like it was trash. The art is missing. And the freezer has been all of that was just put out to trash. So that means I lost all of that milk. And I mean, the art sucks. And it's not like we are art collectors, but I liked what we had on our walls. There are some pictures of the kids too that I loved. It was like the most fragile things. We didn't have the movers move, right? But honestly, the milk, man, I definitely feel like I'm going to cry over that spilled milk, over that lost milk.
Are the police involved?
We filed a police report. The police officer, I guess, was just like useless and was like, this seems like a misunderstanding. They were like, this isn't a misunderstanding. Like, the house was clearly occupied. We asked them to clean it. We did not ask them to clear it out. And let's say we asked them to clear it out. That doesn't mean you're allowed to take what you want. So we just got a text. The owner of the company had been like not responding to us and had hung up on Ted when he tried to explain what had happened. But she texted him today and was like, if we can find a place to meet up, I have all your art for you to give you back. I just feel kind of weird about it. Like, I guess they should just meet in daylight somewhere. I don't know. It just all feels very shady. And so it was more than just art. It was like jewelry. It was all the like random baskets around our house where we like keep shoes and books and things. You know, it was just like anything decorative. So I don't know what she's going to be returning to us. On top of that, there's all the stuff they just trashed that we now have to like, it was all our bedding, all of the kids' art, like all our keepsakes, like our wedding invitation and favorite pictures and things all got just trashed, and it rained that night. And so all the like artwork and all the paperwork just got ruined. And our bedding got like super saturated and gross. And all of Ted's laundry was there. All of his toiletries were there.
Oh
and it was just
God.
all in trash and got like completely just mush, you know? It's just such a weird situation. Maybe we can just move on.
Oh my God, Christy, I'm so sorry. That is like so shitty.
It's so shitty. It is just so mean. It felt so malicious. Like, also, if they wanted to steal stuff and then leave our other stuff, they could have just left the stuff that wasn't valuable to them. They didn't have to throw it out and like destroy it.
Good for Ted that he even is like cool, calm, and collected enough to even like have that meeting.
I know. It's good things I'm not going.
Yeah. Me too.
It is still hard for me to believe that this robbery happened, but I learned something through it that really helped me as I continued to go through the 4th trimester. And it came out of sharing what had happened on my Instagram. And I was so thankful for these responses I got that were like, this is horrible and gross, and don't let anyone tell you it's okay because you're safe or because it's just things. And it was this really good reminder to not immediately just explain away hard things, you know, whether they're ongoing challenges or, you know, one traumatic event. You can sit with it and feel it. And I have this inclination to try to immediately minimize it. But by sitting with it, I think it can help give you some perspective, and then you can start to see the luck or the silver lining, but don't try to get yourself there too quickly. And so thinking about this in terms of the 4th trimester, you don't have to pretend it's easier than it is, and you can also find joy in it. This is a time when I feel joy and anxiety, lucky and overwhelmed, all at the same time. All feelings are valid, feel all of the things. And some days or hours will be harder than others. And sometimes the joy will be so much, it'll be hard to believe it. I try to lean into the joy and the small wins, enjoy those times fully to like fill myself up so I'm ready to ride out the harder moments. Ted has definitely helped me with this.
I really have enjoyed like seeing how you guys find a lot of joy in things, like even just like small mundane things. It seems like both of you find a lot of joy. And I think it was your Instagram story, or maybe it was a recording where you were like, Ted got me these like hard kombuchas for packing. So I guess I'm going to have one. And I was just like, it's cute that he was like, I'm going to get these for Christy and I, because like we only have one kid tonight.
Yeah.
You guys like have a very cute, like joyful outlook on the world, it seems.
Yeah, no, I actually think Ted has really helped me with that as someone who isn't. I feel like he's very optimistic. If I'm primarily anxious, he's primarily optimistic, and his like delight in the day-to-day is something that I'm trying to model. And like I do feel more now, and that definitely is helpful in terms of those moments. Like right now, I don't know. I think I've heard this described as like bids. If your partner is like making that sort of like bid for attention to try to like welcome it and respond positively to it. And it can be hard to do because maybe you're in like distracted with your own stuff or you're in a different mood. But it's like if they do the small thing, like respond to the small thing, and those things like add up.
So my advice, or maybe my hope for you, for anyone in the 4th trimester, is to lean into the fun moments and realizations as they come, like the fact that newborn babies are fuzzy. She's losing her newborn fuzz. She was really fuzzy when she came out. Like she had a unibrow, which had fuzzy like blonde hair in between her two little brows. and little fuzz all over her, but it's coming off. But she's still very, very soft. That's something all the kids have commented on, how soft she is. And their sneezes are very cute.
Oh, bless you.
And you will be talking about poop more than you ever thought possible.
Ooh.
Did we get a poop?
We got a massive poop.
Nice. Okay. Yesterday there was like not a lot of poop happening. So, and just to be clear, this is Holland's poop.
Oh, yeah.
Holland is here with us, so we kept Holland. You can have wine. I had a little bit of wine, like 2 sips of wine last night, which was great. It was delicious. It was nice. And then I like literally after 2 sips was like, yeah, that's probably good. I feel it. Combination of tiredness and not drinking for, 10 months, but lovely to have that back in my life. And along with sleep, I also highly recommend getting outside.
I am out on a walk with Wynn using a stroller. I don't know if you can hear birds chirping on the recording, but I'm walking along the Schuylkill River on the Schuylkill River Trail. But it's still sunny and there's a little breeze and it just feels so incredible to be outside. So yeah, I'm feeling really good. I think some sunshine always makes a difference.
Here's what I hope you can take away from this episode. Accept help, sleep when you can, feel all the feelings, sometimes all at once, and remember these early weeks won't actually last forever, but they are wild and hard and wonderful. You can do it and you don't have to do it alone. We made it through the day. Ted managed the move. I managed the kids. My parents very graciously took us in and all of our stuff. And we're just, on to the next stage of this adventure. You might have noticed 2 big topics we didn't dive deep into here. Your body post-labor and delivery, if you are the one who gave birth, and feeding the baby. These are huge topics, and not to worry, we'll be getting to them. Next week, we'll be talking all about postpartum bodies, more specifically mine, so be careful what you wish for, and we'll be talking feeding babies later this season. Lots to say there as well, so stay tuned. Today We Tried is brought to you by Klugo, a baby gear brand founded by parents for parents. I'm your host, Christy McGregor, and our incomparable producer is Zach Walker. Come back next week for more tales from the 4th trimester. And in the meantime, remember, you got this.